Hey guys, welcome back to our JavaScript series. In this video, we are going to talk about precedence and associativity in JavaScript. Now, precedence and associativity is a topic related to operators. So you should first watch that video if you have not watched that. Um, but let's start. Let's get started with this video. So precedence and associativity basically helps you to decide if you have like any complex equation. For example, this one, these four examples you can see. If you have complex equations like these, in this case, precedence and associativity helps you to decide which operator would evaluate first and which operator would evaluate later on. That's what precedent and associativity does. Now, for understanding about them, let's first of all like see their definition, and then we're gonna see some examples as well. Now, precedence, as I said, decides which operator would evaluate first. So there's like a table. You don't have to memorize the precedent associativity for each operators because like each operators have different precedent associativity. So you don't need to memorize that. There's a table on MDN. You can have a look at that whenever you want to look at that. You can see the table here that basically tells about the precedence and associativity of the operators. So the highest precedence you can see is grouping. Okay, and the lowest is comma operator, I guess. Yeah, lowest is comma one, and then you can see the associativity in the middle column. Okay, so you can see over here, for example, additive operator has the associativity of left to right. Now precedence is fine that okay, which the operator that has highest precedence would be evaluated first, and the operator that has lowest precedence would be evaluated at the end. What is associativity then? Associativity is used when precedence can't work. Now, what I mean by can't work? See, sometimes what happens is that some operators have same precedence. Let me show you an example. For example, if you check the multiplication operators, multiplicative operators, multiply, divide, and remainder, all of them have same precedence of 12. Same goes for additive operators, all of them have same precedence of 11. In those cases, if like you have multiple operators, divide, multiply, modulo in an equation, so all of them have same precedence. Now, how you would decide which has to be evaluated first and which to evaluate at the end? The answer to that comes from the associativity. So you check associativity and accordingly you solve the equation. So if the associativity is left to right, you start solving from left and end up at the right. Otherwise, you start from right and end up to the left. It just depends on the associativity then. Okay, so that's how you can use precedent associativity. Okay, let's talk about this example and understand what would happen if we don't follow these rules and we just try to solve it uh, in a way that looks more logical. For example, solving from start of the equation. Okay, that might look more logical, but that's not going to give you the correct answer. Let me show you how. So if I go and solve this, let me actually wait, let me do it over here, and I'm just gonna define it as a wrong way. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go and paste this example. Now 4 divided by 2 over here, we're gonna solve that first. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then we say 2 double equals to 2 minus 2. Next, we are going to solve this one. So this basically becomes 2 minus 2. Now, the first thing you can see over here is a weird result. Now, that weird result is not because you solved in a wrong way, just to be very clear there. This can even happen when you have like when you're solving with the correct way. Now, let's see how we can solve it. So, can we actually solve it first of all? We can solve it, and the way to solve it is type conversion. Now, I know you don't know about type conversion, so just like understand this, that true would get converted to 1, and then we would get 1 minus 2. Okay, and that would give us the result of minus 1. Now just to prove that true minus 2 would give you minus 1, I'm just going to console log that. So console log, and if you see the answer, you would see that let me actually take this to coca.js, and you can see it's minus 1. So yeah, that's how you can actually go and do this. Now this is obviously the wrong way. Why it is a wrong way, let's actually prove that. So I'm just going to go and console log the answer for this equation directly, and then I'm going to tell you the right one. So you can see when I do this, I get answer of false. Now let's see how we are going to use the precedence rule and precedence and associativity rule to get to the correct answer of false. And by the way, this example won't need associativity rules to be used. The these three examples would need it, but not this one. Okay, so let's see. So you can see here that we have like divide, double equals to, and minus operator. Now, if you see over here, you can see that the highest precedence would be holded by the division operator. So you have to first solve that, and then you would solve this subtraction operator, and then you would solve the equality operator. Also, one more thing here, uh, you should remember that this operator -1 unary negation is different from the negative sign over here, because people can get confused because of that and might think that they have to solve this first, because this has a very high precedence in comparison to these divide and other operators you have in this equation. So don't think like that, because obviously there are two operands for this. Okay, so yeah. And yeah, by the way, this is unary negation. Okay, so here you can actually think about that. Anyways, let's talk about this and let's solve it. So first of all, we would solve divide as we have seen. So this would become 2 double equals to 2 minus 2. Next, we would solve the subtraction, because that has the next precedence over there. So let's do that. So 2 double equals to 0. Now that would obviously give you false, and that's why we got the result false, which is the correct one. So hopefully you got the idea about precedence, and that's very important to use. Otherwise, you would get to a wrong result like this. Okay. Let's talk about the next example. Next example is this one. Let's see how we can do it. So again, we're just gonna take this over here, and then we're gonna solve it on our own, and then we're gonna compare it with the actual answer. So here, the highest precedence is holded by this operator, this exponentation operator, and the next highest is modulo, and then we have plus and minus. Now plus and minus would lead to a conflict because they have same precedence, so that is where you would actually learn about associativity. Okay, so that would be very, very interesting to see. Anyways, let's talk about it. So over here we would first solve the exponent operator. So that would become 4 to the power 2 is 16 modulo 8. Actually, let's make it 9, because if I don't make it 9, uh, this part would basically become 0. Then you won't be able to really see the associativity power. Okay. So yeah, but again, you can solve it without by making it 8 as well. I'm just doing it so that I can show you the associativity. So I can show you associativity properly. So this became 16, and then we have modulo 9. And then finally, we solve this part. So this part would become 1. Okay. So we get that. And then finally, we try to see for negative and plus. Now they have the same precedence. So here you would follow the associativity, which is left to right, which means you have to start solving the equation from left and end up at the right. So let's see what we can do. We can start from the left. The left side is basically 4 minus 5, which would give you -1. Okay. And then +1, that would give you 0. So the answer should be 0. Let's try to see. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm just going to paste it over here. Okay, so you can see, okay, this is actually coming wrong. Let's see why. Let's actually evaluate this one more time. So 4, 4, 16, that's the first operator we have to solve, obviously. That we did. So 16 modulo 9. Oh, okay. So this remainder was incorrect. So if we divide 16 by 9, that would actually give something else. So 9, let me do actually the division modulo, sorry. That would give you 7, right? So let's keep 7 over here. And then we can solve it more. So 4 minus 5 is -1, and then +7, that would give you 6. So you can see we got the correct answer from that. A small mathematical issue from my side, but otherwise precedence rule would always, precedence and associativity rule would always hold correct. Okay, let's solve this one. Now, so here, this might look easy, but it's not. So 2 to the power 3 to the power 2. Now, you might think that you have to start solving it from this side, but it's actually from this side. I will show you why. But here you can see there's only one operator, so we don't need to care about precedence. We need to care about associativity. And associativity is right to left. And that's why I said you have to start solving from right to the left. Okay, so here I'm just going to start with the wrong way. So 2 to the power 3 would become what? It would become 8. And 8 to the power 2 would become what? It would become 64, right? So the final answer according to the wrong way should be 64. Let's try the correct way. The correct way would first of all solve 3 to the power 2, which is 9. So 2 to the power 9. Okay. Now what is 2 to the power 9? I would have to check. 2 to the power 9, it should be 500. Yeah, okay, 512. So that we got. So you can see over here, this is how we got two results, 64 and 512. Obviously, the 512 is correct. Let's verify that. So I'm just going to console log that, and we should get the answer. So you can see over here, we got the answer 512, which is the correct one. And that is how you can just go and solve these things. The last example is the toughest example over here, and it will also require type conversion. So I'm not going to talk about this example. You will need to solve this example on your own once you are done with the type conversion lecture, which would be the next one. So so first of all, you can complete that lecture and then come back to this example after that and try to solve it on your own. I'm not going to solve this, but it basically follows the same associativity and precedence rules, so you don't need to worry about it. If you know about these rules, you can easily solve it. I'm just going to copy paste it over here, and yeah, that's it. Let me now talk about grouping operators. So again, it's a very important thing to talk about. So let's talk about it. Save without formatting, because when I'm formatting, I'm getting the parenthesis over here, which I don't want. Anyways, let's talk about grouping operator. So grouping operator is the one which actually helps you to control the associativity and precedence. Because sometimes what happens is that you don't want to do what normally present associativity would force it to do. For example, in this case, let's say you didn't want to solve this first, you wanted to solve this first, and that's what you meant. You meant to solve this first, and then with this result, you want to take it to the power of 2. What you can do in that case, what's your option in that case? The option in that case is to use grouping operator. Why? Because grouping operator has the highest precedence. So if you wrap any expression inside an expression with grouping operator, that would automatically turn into a higher precedence operation, and then that has to be solved first. So what we can do, if you do it normally over here, that would basically give you this result. Now, how you can go and do it, like do it to first have like this, and then this basically raised to the power of 2. For that, let's actually write a comment and discuss about that there. So as I said, you can use grouping operator. So what you have to do, you have to increase the precedence of this part. Okay, that's the way you can do it. So you just add parenthesis or grouping operator around this. And now if you see, if you check the precedence rule, the highest priority is giving to, highest precedence is giving to grouping operator. So you have to solve grouping operator first. How to solve grouping operator? To solve grouping operator, you have to solve the expression inside that grouping operator. And that's the way how you can solve it. So basically, if you see over here, you would have to first solve this, and then you have to solve this. So let's try to see. If I go and say 2 to the power 3, that would give you 8, and then 8 to the power 2 will give you 64. So let's try to paste that over here. Let's try to see if the answer is correct or not. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here. And you can see I'm getting 64, which is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's talk about this one. So this one is again a very interesting example. Now, if you actually try to solve this directly without giving any grouping operator over here, the result would be like this. 10. Okay. So you can see I'm getting 10 as the answer. Now, I don't want to get 10. I want to get the answer like right now, if you see, the highest precedence is holded by this and then this. So this would be solved first, which becomes 6 plus 4, 10, right? That's what happened. So in this case, what happened is that 2 to the power 2 multiplied 3 would become 6. Let me write it down first. And that would become 6 plus 4, and that would become 10. I want to do it the other way. I want to do something like this. 2 multiply 3 plus 4 should be like 2 multiply 7, and that should give me 14. So to do that, what I can do, I can control the precedence and associativity using grouping operator, and I can wrap this thing around grouping operator so that it has to be solved first by JavaScript. So I can do that, and that would basically give me this 40. Okay. So that's what I have to do. I have to wrap this around grouping operator. Okay. So you can see that I'm getting the answer accordingly now. So I hope that is clear, and that's how you can use the grouping operator to control the precedence and associativity of the operators in a way that it basically does the operation in a way you actually expected it to do. And that's where you can see the advantage of that. Anyways, I think that's it for the operators lecture. That's all I have to cover. And yeah, if you have any questions on that, I know it's a very confusing topic for a lot of people. So if you have any confusions here, I would love to answer that in the comment section below. But that's it for this video. Bye.